very well. We didn't defend well enough at Stamford Bridge, and that's why you can see 3 goals in a short space, which changed the face of the whole game. And of course, knowing that we need to score goals, we have to trust it. If we move the ball well and play confidently and play like we have for big parts of the season, we can cause most teams problems. So we'll need to get our game absolutely spot on to compete, to try and turn this around.
John Cross, Daily Mirror.
Hello, Frank. I just wonder whether I can ask you a little bit more about Willian, please. I realise he's injured, but it's obviously a difficult situation as well, because it seems clear that he's probably going to move on, isn't he? Are you disappointed in the way it's ended? Is it obviously a player that you wanted to keep? You know, it must be disappointing that you've not been able to keep him, and maybe, you know, is there anything in your mind that suggests that if he was staying, that he might be able to push it and might be able to play in this game?
No, John, I read a headline earlier that sort of mentioned disappointment from. It actually doesn't matter what disappointment from any party in this situation. I think I haven't got an answer for you first and foremost, because Willian remains our player at the moment. He's injured. He's injured and was injured for the cup final. Was injured for tomorrow, and he would have given everything to play in those games. I know Willian well. I've seen him. He's carried this injury a little bit in the latter parts of restart. In terms of being disappointed, certainly as a club, I think we have done everything we can to explain to Willian. Mine and his relationship is really close, and I would have no feeling of disappointment if he does move on. Played with him, coached him. He's a fantastic man and a fantastic player. I think he will feel like that about Chelsea. I'll leave him to say his own words, but I don't want anyone to try and find a negative attitude, because the club have acted very well in this as well. I don't have the answer. If he moves on, I personally would wish him well, and that's kind of where we're at now.
Thanks, Frank.
Thanks, John.
Hi, Frank. Just when you talk about disappointment with Willian, I mean, what if he does leave? What kind of hole do you think that he leaves for you? Because obviously he's had a great season.
Yeah, well, I think he leaves a hole as in a player that's been here for, I think, 7 seasons, performed and been big parts of successful teams. And when I came in this year, and we had a lot of issues in terms of younger players back from loan, transitional elements to the whole group, Willian was one you looked at and you relied on in terms of experience and quality. And he's shown me that all year. But he has his own decisions to make, and we as a club will always want to move forward no matter what. Eden Hazard left last year. The club continues. We try and work in the forward direction, which I think we have in many ways, and that remains the same whatever player will leave the club.
Nick Purell, Press Association.
Hi Frank, just on Christian Pulisic, I guess he's obviously will be battling to be fit for the start of the season as when that finishes. And just lastly on Willian, I'm sure obviously I assume that you wouldn't be worried about him playing for a rival, would you? Given obviously David Luiz played for Arsenal.
When a player's out of contract, they have the freedom and the right to go and play wherever they want. So you have to understand that if they stay in the league and it's a player of Willian's quality, for instance, then they will go and contribute to that team. I think we have to accept that and move on. I've got no problems with that. That's his right. With Christian Pulisic, I think it's going to be touch and go for the start of the season. 6 weeks, if you do the maths, gets very close to probably into the start of the season. But we have to treat it right. The injury, he's been fantastic, although I had a couple of these kind of injuries this season. But in the big scheme of things, when Christian will reflect on his first season, I think his improvement levels come in here when you think of the goals and assists he's had this year, the best of his career, and that's in the first year in the Premier League. And from where he's gone in the start to where he ends up and how he was playing in restart, he should be very happy, because that's down to his work. So we'll get him fit and we'll get him ready. If he misses the first part of the season, as in the first 1 or 2 games or so, then we'll have a firing Christian, hopefully as hungry as he looks for restart.
Okay, last 2 questions. Daniel Matthews and then Tom Roddy.
Hi Frank. Just quickly, you mentioned earlier about some of the famous nights, the turnarounds in the Champions League. Obviously, you had your own famous one here in Munich in 2012. Will you try and use those? And if so how can you use those to try and inspire your players?
I won't use that for this game. I think if I try to use short stories from my career to the players through the season, they'll be very bored of me. So I won't use that. But I will speak to the players and make them aware of the opportunity they have here to show that they want to turn this game around, to act like they want to turn this game around, and then believe that they can turn the game around. I think that's very clear, and it mustn't be short on them. It's been a long season for us successful in many ways, and now we have a huge challenge in a one-off game to try and do something special. And I understand the difficulties of the game, so all I want to see is a performance and an attitude from the team that attempts to do something special. It'll be very, very difficult. I don't have to pretend that for the players. I just need to see them perform. I believe they will.